Sports for Real again with Coach Hall. Before I even get into Brett Favre, I want to recap the Heisman race. I told you that C.J. Stroud would get fourth, Bennett would get third, Duggan would get second, and Caleb Williams would take the trophy. And the race went just like I thought it would, primarily because Caleb Williams was a catalyst for USC's success. Duggan, he had a lot of players around him. He had the heart to will his team to a lot of those victories, so that's the reason why he got second place. He has talent around him, he has a good defense, but he didn't have to pull his team like Williams did. Of course, Stetson Bennett's got all that talent around him. You put him on a team where he has to do most of the work, then he might find himself in a little trouble. And I think Stroud's biggest problem was the loss to Michigan, the way that they lost, and it just didn't look good for him. And by him being the leader of that team, that compelled them down to the fourth spot. Now let's talk about Brett Favre. If you've been under a rock lately, you know that Brett Favre is in the middle of a scandal of taking state funding from the Mississippi Department of Human Services to use those funds to do things like putting a volleyball court or volleyball facility on the southern Mississippi campus. Now let me explain something to you about Favre. He played all those years in the NFL, so you know he has plenty of money. What rich people do, they stay rich. They don't use their money. They use somebody else's money. So why not take a shot at using your connections and friends and higher-ups to get you some money to get the money you want to put into this facility? By the way, that's where his daughter was playing volleyball at the Southern Mississippi University. So here's the thing. Mississippi is typically the poorest state in the union. And those people that are on aid, in particular the TANF program, they get just enough food to survive on a monthly basis, but very little to zero cash. So in order to survive, because you can't just use the benefits to get what you want, you have to have some cash. Those people have to get creative to make it through the month. And here he is, a guy like Favre, who has millions, by the way. Why couldn't he just pull the money out of his pocket or use his charity to finance the facility on Southern Miss's campus? He didn't want to do that. He just wanted to keep his money, keep his charity's money, and get it from somewhere else. They're poor people. They won't miss it. So here it is. All the information coming out of Mississippi has been about Deion Sanders and his move to Colorado. But the real scandal is what Brett Favre is doing. And I'll tell you something else. Most of the time, when you take a little bit of extra on unemployment or you fudge the system some kind of way, they coming in, swoop in, and arrest you and splash you all over the papers. Why hasn't Favre been arrested for his allegations of being involved in this particular crime? It doesn't seem right. And it's just the way society works. All those bankers and things that crash the economy and get people out of work, and they cause all kind of damage, the government slaps them on their hand. But you do something minor, they want to throw you under the jail. So I'm waiting for the dominoes to fall for when Brett Favre should be arrested for his involvement in this particular situation. So it's not fair that the way the system works, and using the cover of Deion situation in Jackson to cover up what's going on up in Hattiesburg, and just think about those poor people. Mississippi, like I said before, is the poorest state in the union. The farther you go up north, especially past Jackson up into that delta, the poorer those people get. So they need all the help they can get. They don't need some rich person coming in stealing the funding. Then they have those rich people turn around and say, oh, those people, all they do is have their hands out. Well, who's got their hand out? The poor people or the ones who's stealing from the poor people? You think about that. Sports for Real.